Hi guys, thanks for coming back to High Tea with Friends. Today I have a lovely new friend, and we're going to be talking about just how horrible the Marvel Cinematic Universe has made Doctor Strange, because the comic version of him is #terrible. Please allow me to introduce you to...
Steven! Right now I don't know what socials I'm gonna be putting in any of those descriptions. We'll figure that out in post. You misspoke. You said that I was gonna be talking about how terrible the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe made Doctor Strange. But no, my argument is it salvaged a sinking ship. In some cases, and you can feel free to hop in whatever you want. I'm okay with being interrupted. I would like to have a conversation.
Yeah, go ahead, get your intro and stuff out. That's right, we were talking about the comics, not the movies. Movie good, comic issues.
Movie, yeah, and this is gonna be a whole lot of fun because I just recently started reading the comics after reading the wiki pages, which means that I haven't even gotten to the crazy shit. Baby's first Doctor Strange.
I feel like everybody is new to the comic industry, right? It's like the MCU, the cinematic universe, pushed people to find the comics, but most people probably didn't know anything about the comics, so it's a new venture for a lot of people. I feel like you're not alone.
Yeah. So some of the things that I want to talk about that I haven't read about, that I won't be on my diatribe because I have no context of the story, is Doctor Strange is the oldest of 3 children. He was born in Nebraska. His mother name was Beverly, and his father name was Eugene Farmers. And his sister died, and that's usually, in most of the adaptations of Doctor Strange, that's why he became a doctor in the first place, is because he had a sister that was dying. The canon version, the one that they went for the MCU, and the one that I believe originally appeared in the comics is her name's Donna, and she ends up falling through the ice, and that's how she dies. And I'm just like, okay. And he has a little brother named Victor. Victor is also known as Baron Blood, and the reason why he's known as that is because he's a fucking vampire.
You know what? The more you describe the background of Doctor Strange, the more I just nod my head and go, no, your last name is very accurate, and there's nothing to convince me otherwise, sir.
No, yeah, and that's on the family side of things. Like, the shit he gets up to in the comics is just like, all right, I get the vibe. And so that's the extent of what I'm not going to be talking about. And so why don't we go ahead and get into what I do want to talk about.
Yeah, it's like, we have an hour for high tea, so there's a lot to unpack. We're just gonna pick one thing and go.
Yeah. I honestly don't know how, because the way that I've been reading the comics is I haven't been actually reading them in the order that they came out. I attempted to. They have an omnibus, 2 omnibuses that are published right now that are collecting the early run of Doctor Strange, which a little bit of history background, because it's going to be one of those podcasts of this is the thing that happened. Is that he originally appeared in a comic series called Strange Tales. I'm from the numbering of the comics. He wasn't actually the reason why it was called Strange Tales. They just had Strange Tales going on, and they're like, oh yeah, let's make a wizard character. And so
I'll take weird D&D campaigns for 4.
Right, and so Strange Tales actually originated in the front runner of Strange Tales. The lead character was actually the Human Torch. So Doctor Strange was literally playing second fiddle to the Human Torch. You didn't buy Strange Tales to read Doctor Strange. You bought it to read Johnny whatever his name is. I can't remember. Obviously, my forte is not obscure Human Torch knowledge. It is obscure Doctor Strange knowledge.
Realistically, though, Doctor Strange is becoming more popular because every Fantastic Four reboot they've done has just been terrible, so people are blanking it out on purpose.
Terrible. Oh my god. It's true shit.
How do you mess up an invisible lady and a guy that's rubber? Like, guys, this is literally like the basis of One Piece, which is an outstanding anime. How are you fucking up so bad?
And the answer is, of course, because it's Western media. That's just like the answer.
No, I'll give that to you. Like, overseas media is not amazing. There's also stuff wrong with it, but comparatively, please, I'm not looking at my phone all the time. You don't have to spoon feed me.
Right, yeah, no, and I think one of the reasons why Western media has this vibe to it is not necessarily because they want it to be bad. Nobody wants to make bad art. They just don't understand what people find compelling, and they assume that any character showing emotion is gross.
You're like really overly emotional, and it's kind of cringe. What?
Uh-huh. Right? And you know, and the thing is like, it's explicitly male characters that have this problem, but at the same time, Eastern media has a problem of, to have a badass character, they have to be a monotone female. Which is why Other M, which we're not going to get into, sucked in the English translation, because the guy who directed it was Japanese. Like, he's like, no, she sounds too emotional here. I want her to be a badass. Take away her emotions.
I will say this, right? I have a friend who is completely 1000% deadpan, but her deadpan comes from her just not being enthused about stuff, but she's not funny. Like, she has a wonderful comedic timing, and the fact that her deadpan is so on point, it makes it even funnier, because we're like, Susan, please, I need you to put a little emotion into what you said, because you sound like a psychopath. No, I'm good.
Yeah. No, I'm good. It's fine.
Which, again, you can make deadpan characters actually the comic relief, just because that sounds like we'd get killed if we did that, but we need to do it. So we took stupid pills today. Understood. Right.
And, like, the thing that, like, that makes me think of is just, like, that one, like, end of the line. I guess this is spoilers for Penty and Stalking, but, like, where she goes, I'm actually a demon.
Right, like, that was left on a cliffhanger many a year ago, young ones. My sweet summer children. Yeah. Come back to me about your hell of a boss season 2, like, boohooing, when you've been waiting for Panty and Stocking season 2 since you were in middle school.
I haven't even watched the show because I was waiting for the season 2 to drop, because I didn't want to be like, get into it and then be like, oh shit, and then it never drops.
Yeah.
And then it never dropped.
They never will.
Anyway.
They'll leave us there on season 1 forever.
Yeah. Oh god. Anyway, and now I'm just thinking about, like, good shows that are just, like, are not gonna get a season 2. Land of the Lustrous. Yeah.
Ouran High School. No offense, but I kind of feel like Ouran High doesn't really need a season 2. Like, for its self-contained thing, it did its job. Like, you guys just want a reboot of to follow the manga, which, like, realistically, yous would be mad is because she doesn't, spoilers, I guess, she doesn't get with who you think she's gonna get with. She doesn't. Like, the author gave you guys a middle finger in, like, issue 12. Like, no, it's not what we're doing. I'm sorry, I've completely derailed us from the Doctor Strange talk.
No, it's totally fine because my brain is just like this too, so I feel you. I feel you. I feel you. Anyway, so, now I'm trying to figure out where to start because I haven't been consuming Doctor Media in a linear fashion yet anyway, so it's like, God. I guess I'll start at the beginning because I did get my hands on the omnibus, which my library had. And I wasn't originally going to check it out because I was like, you know what, I'm just going to read it for a little bit and then I'm going to head out. And then I put it on the shelf and then I took it back off the shelf and took it home. Pouring rain. And the thing about about that series is while he eventually does get his own comic series, like his own book and everything, the entire first omnibus is taken entirely from Strange Tales. And when it wasn't the Human Torch, it was Nick fucking Fury. You literally had an entire comic book called Strange Tales, and you're just like, oh, and I guess Doctor Strange appears in this one too, I guess. And it's just like, alright.
Nick Fury, or were you just collecting, like, superpowered people to go into your secret boy band for forever? Because that's what it sounds like.
He was a Golden Age comic hero. The reboot, it was a reboot in Strange Tales. So that wasn't him showing up for the first time. That was him coming back after, like, doing stuff, like, whatever the Golden Age shit he was doing. Fuck if I know.
If anybody that watches my stuff wants to, like, go find somebody that knows Golden Age comics, that way they can watch us stumble through this, please do.
And so, like, I'll go ahead and give the premise of Doctor Strange, because while everybody knows the tale now, or at least they feel like they do, because, you know, he's had 2 quite popular movies. The premise of Doctor Strange is you've got a world-class surgeon who's an asshole. So he only takes patients that he knows that he can fix and that can pay him lots of money. And he's doing this for however long he's been a doctor. And realistically, doctors usually become like full-fledged doctors and they start doing, like, you know, the career shit around 30, especially if they're young doctors, like, get into it pretty young, because you need a master's degree to go into medical school. That's you have to get that.
It's like
I don't know how long
12
that's
to
been a thing.
13 years of additional schooling, like, in total. Like, it's 12 to 13 years of additional schooling to go be a doctor. But if it's like a specialist, add more years on, because you never stop learning stuff.
Yeah, and then medical school is like 8 years, and then on top of that, and so he's only been practicing as a doctor. He's in the I know the Marvel Cinematic Universe age is when he has his accident. He's 42. I don't know how old he is in the comics, but he can't be older than 50 because they keep referring to him as a young man, and I'm just like, okay.
Let's be really generous and say 50 is young and assume people live a lot longer than 100 here. I'll give that to you, but I have a lot of questions.
Yeah, and do you mean that he's like in his like 40s, like maybe 45, at the oldest, but like he's also already graying. But like in the after notes, they're like, well, you know, maybe he's just like has his hairstyle like that, and I'm just like, okay.
Well, here, if I do the math, right, let's be really generous and say he graduated super early from high school and, like, got out, like, 16, right? Plus the 4 years of just regular college, he'd be 20. Mm-hmm. Plus the 8 years of medical school, he'd be 28. Mm-hmm. And then specialized medicine. You calculated for bachelor's degree. It has to be a master's. Right, I'm like, I'm doing this bit by bit. And then if we just tack on another 15 years just to get all the other stuff done, right? In general, other stuff. He would be, at youngest, 43 when he was done. Not practicing, done. So, yes, 50 is very... I think I'm doing my math.
Yeah, and some of these things that he can do some of these things comorbid, because there are high school programs in the U.S. where you can be taking college classes, and he was doing this in the 60s,
no rules.
So
okay.
There could be like different timelines of like when you complete schooling, but like this is important shit to figure out, regardless, because like this is still like, you know, like he's supposed to be like 42 at the in 2018 when Doctor Strange 1 comes out. You know, he's got the Simpsons issue is he's always 40.
It's been like
no
60
matter what
years
decade
and he's still 40? Shh.
Yeah.
How long have you been 17?
Shit.
God, I hate Twilight so much.
You know, maybe the real vampire wasn't actually his brother.
Strange, did you ever check on your
I'm
brother?
so glad I established that earlier. No, of course not. That's the problem. He's estranged from his family. He doesn't give a fuck about them. His parents are dead.
Yeah, but I feel like if your parents have passed unexpectedly, I'm gonna bother the shit out of you. Why? All the family I've got left.
Yeah, and like obviously, like like Doctor Strange as a person is he's a shit, and so it's just like, you've annoyed me slightly. I will never speak to you again.
Were you the middle child of the four siblings Strange? Is that what this is?
No, he was the oldest. He was the oldest of three.
Oh.
So there's two other siblings.
Oh.
He's just an asshole.
Well, alright. Yeah, okay, I'll give it to you.
Yeah.
Older sibling syndrome.
Yeah.
Why are you so mean?
Older sibling syndrome. Yeah. And like his sister died when they were both very young. Like, I believe the age they gave for him for like the oldest he was like 9. And so from the age of 9 he has been actively pursuing his doctor career. And things that are true about Doctor Strange is that he's got a photographic memory, which makes studying a lot easier. But he, like, it's also one of those things of like, he can know something, but like not actually know it. And like, if there was ever a person that was like that, it would be Doctor Strange.
Well, no, that makes sense. Photographic memory just means it's like a picture, but you don't actually retain the information, do you?
Yeah. The knowledge, but not the application. And so anyway, so it makes sense why he's so pissed that, like, he's like, I'm the best in my field. I make a whole shit ton of money. I have literally just started my surgical career, and now I can't fucking use my hands. and the funny thing about Doctor Strange is this is his backstory. We get it. We get his backstory. We get his origin in the 4th issue of Strange Tales, like the 4th issue that he actually appears. We finally get his backstory. So we've been going on 3 stories, and we don't even know who the fuck this guy is.
We're a little late in the introduction to this very important character, but okay, go off, I guess.
Yeah, and they make fun of themselves for doing it, and the reason why they didn't like think to include this is because he does not act like a doctor ever in the comics.
What about doctor-patient confidentiality? Yeah, no, we don't care about that shit. What?
No, legitimately in the movie where he's... Okay, I looked this up. I researched this in the movie, the first movie, where he asked that guy, like the physical therapist guy for the records of the guy who was able to walk.
Ooh.
That's a breach of HIPAA. I literally went to the government website and I was like reading through it, and it turns out that you can only request, as a doctor with a medical license, you can only request other people's medical files if and only if you expect to treat them as your patient.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there is actually unironically a HIPAA violation in the first Doctor Strange movie.
And we just never talk about it.
Yeah, we just never talk about it. It's just glossed over. Like, he literally breaks the law, and everybody is just like, anyway, that's Doctor Strange. And the fact that he uses that information to track him down and yell at him on the street is just like Doctor Strange is a bad doctor because he practices malpractice, not because he can't use his hands.
Yeah, I figure. Actually, all I could think of now, instead of OSHA violation, that song, like, Come With Me, like, from Willy Wonka, all I could think of now is HIPAA violation instead of OSHA violation.
Legitimately. Oh my god.
So many things you've done illegally, sir.
Right. Oh my god. And so it's just like, holy shit. And that's like the good version of Doctor Strange. The primary like adventures that he has on the comic, it has in the comics, and like this is including the run that I read from 2015, is somebody shows up, he does the thing, things happen, it's over, he finds a MacGuffin, and it's not good because there's just no connective tissue, and he's always fighting with Baron Mordo. And Baron Mordo, his whole thing is just he fucking hates the Ancient One. He's trying to kill him all the time. Just because I gotta be the strongest sorcerer in the world. Real Scooby-Doo shit.
I would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for you meddling kids.
Or you meddling Doctor Stranges. And, Dormammu has a body in the comics, and he is thick. I might send you over a picture of that so you can include this if it's edited in so people can see Dormammu's juicy ass.
Sir, the gods of cake blessed you 3 times over, and they didn't need to.
No. And so, like, it's just really goofy, but, like, you can tell, like, that these people, like, were really, really into the story, and it's just like, so, Stan Lee, why'd you decide to pick Doctor Strange as, your magical character? And he's just like, I listened to a radio once when I was a kid. Well, it was not, I used to, like, tune into it, and it was great, loved it, it's, like, super magical, and, I thought I could do that. So, it's very racist. It's very racist. And it's not even racist in the way that, like, oh my god, that's a horrible depiction of these people. It's just like, no, we use the affectations of the world religions that are not Western. We birch them to hell and back, and we say that this thing is how they work. And the way that we trigger this is instead of actually doing some research about, like, how this could possibly work, we're going to make up our own language, essentially, and phrases of how to make this triggering, trigger, like, the magic. Not triggering in, like, the mental health sense, but, like, and this is how, like, he'll say something, and since it's copyright free, it's fine. And I'm here to tell you that if your Ancient One is living in the mountains of Tibet, and you just have him spouting mumbo jumbo, like, that does not fix the problem of it being, like, that doesn't make it less racist.
Right, of, like, all the places you could have picked to be hiding out in, you picked literally the, like, cultural center of, there's so much stuff that has happened here, and I don't know where to go first, but not with what you went.
Yeah, oh my god, yeah, and, like, the fact that the Ancient One is just, like, because, like, it's supposed to be, like, a student-teacher relationship, and they're like, yeah, I'm here for my bro, and the fact that he exists in the capacity that it is you have the problem, I can't remember right off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure that there's, like, there's gotta be a trope that, like, explains what I'm trying to say a little bit better, but, like, I can't do it, I can't defeat you, but he can!
Where you have an incredibly overpowered character, but all of a sudden, this other overpowered character comes out of nowhere, and they're the one that defeats them. It's like, guys, please, you should have established that prior to us getting to this big boss fight, because it makes you seem like you had nowhere else to go, and you tried to write yourself out of a corner.
Legitimately, like I was reading the letters that are included in the omnibus, and it's like, oh yeah, what's it? Doctor Strange is great because even if you write him into a jam, then he pulls out something out of his ass and it fixes the story. And I'm just like, Stan Lee, I swear to God, please stop this. Let somebody else write. And eventually, of course, he does, but...
Yeah, you know what, actually? Because I've said it before on my channel, and I'll say it again. I like writing. It's like my little fun hobby that I've been doing since I was like 7 years old. I'm not a master at it because there's always new stuff to learn, but guys, please, I beg of you, please learn stuff. Learn how to write. It is actually not hard. One community centers class will tell you much.
Yeah, and it's just like, so the early Doctor Stranges they're not great. They're not great. But the reason why they became such a staple, and this is very important, is Steve Dacko's art. When you look at it now, it's just like, well, this is like the common shit for, like, comics. It's common shit for comics because of Steve Dacko and Doctor Strange. I cannot overstate how, like, absolutely mind-blowing it is to see some of the stuff he's drawn, and like the way that it intersects with each other, and the way that it just like it's got almost this tangible quality to it. Like this, if this was in the space that I was in, this could be real. And it is so jarring to be like flipping through these pages and then see like you know, clips of like other comics at that time, because you'll see like the splash pages, you'll see like a little bit of like somebody else's art, and then comparing it to Doctor Strange, it's like this art does not make sense for the time that it's in. It is crazy. And every single time you pick up a Doctor Strange comic, even if it's a mid-story, which most of them, I'll say most of them, I'll be charitable, are, you will find an image in that comic book that makes you stop and go, somebody drew this? Somebody was actually able to render this out?
Yeah, people that draw and are able to draw, like, incredibly mind-bogglingly... I know what I'm trying to say, I promise.
It's good.
Mind-bogglingly, I'm gonna say that because I can't think of the right word. Well, I'm like, look at how wonderful you draw. And then you're just like, your talents are wasted on this honestly horrible story.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that the story becomes better because the art is good. And it's really hard to do that because there are some stories that are just going to be garbage no matter what you put with them. And I will give Stan Lee some credit. He was able to sell comics.
The nice way of saying you had good ideas and other people who were way better at art made them possible. Thank the people who helped you.
Yeah, honestly. And it's just and there's this tradition in Doctor Strange comics of you don't make him older, but you keep all of the experiences that he's done, and he just kind of continues throughout the ages without aging. Like, you know, we talked about, you know, he's been 40 for how long?
Sir, you've been 40 since my grandfather was like 20.
Yeah, honestly. And so going to the recent run that I read, this is like the shit that, like, you know, I went on a whole rant to you. Let's see if we can rehash some of this, because I said a lot of the stuff that I was going to say. But, you know what, I'm going to say it again if I can remember. God bless. Where you end up getting such, like, a critical mass of, like, actually, like, all these ideas that have been attached to Doctor Strange, and having to continue with them just forever. And, with the exception of one comic. The one comic that has been glossed over, as far as I can tell, in the entire Doctor Strange run, is actually the 1980s graphic novel, and the Into Shambhala. Into Shambhala is literally an entire series, entire comic that is done in watercolor, and it is so, like, realistic watercolor. So it's not like that, just like washy-wishy stuff. We are talking, like, we have rendered out faces, we have put emotion and details into this world, and it's all done in watercolor.
Okay, so for,
it is,
like, art-wise, right? Like, for people when they do art, watercolor is exceptionally hard, because if the water decides, I'm moving, there's very little you can do to stop it if it decides, I'm gonna move.
Yeah, like, it is actually crazy that this thing was able to be produced, and the vibes, like, I'll explain the story, but, like, the vibes carry the story. And this is the comic that deals with the death of the Ancient One, because eventually you have to kill the Ancient One, because if you want a good story, you have to get rid of the MacGuffin. You just do.
You either have to kneecap your immortal character in some way, or you must find a way to write them out of the story so believably that you can progress it, and if killing them is the only way, then it must be so.
Then kill them. Then you must kill them. Exactly. And so Into Shambhala is literally Doctor Strange going, oh my god, my master is dead. My dad is dead again for the second time.
Sir, can I offer you an egg in this trying time?
Right. And so he goes to the sanctuary in Tibet, because we're still set in Tibet. And he is greeted by his master's assistant. And he is given a box. And the box opens up, and it's a box of mirrors. And he's just like, what the fuck is this? And so he literally isolates himself from society, which is a very common theme in Doctor Strange. If he's slightly perturbed, he isolates himself from society and spends his entire time just trying to figure out what the fuck is the meaning behind the box. And it turns out the meaning behind the box is it's just a box of mirrors. That's it.
I've seen this before. I'll take Kung Fu Panda 1 for 200. It's just you.
Yeah. It's just you. And he's like, oh my god, it's a box of mirrors. He just gave me a box of mirrors. And the very first thing he does, after finding out that it's just a box of mirrors, is he breaks the fucking box!
You emotionally stunted lemon. That's not what the box was for.
And the crazy thing, as I think this might be actually the first time we ever see this concept in Doctor Strange, but as soon as he breaks the box of mirrors, he goes into the mirror dimension. So it turns out that the box of mirrors wasn't actually a box of mirrors. It was an access point to the mirror dimension. Which I'm just like, I'm sitting over here like, so you figured out it was just a box of mirrors, and as soon as you figure out that it's just a box of mirrors, it's suddenly able to transport you to a different location? That's not a box of mirrors, my guy!
That is literally a magical artifact for teaching.
Yeah, and I'm just like, okay. But like, no, the thing's entirely shattered. And he sees a column of like faces going up into forever, and it speaks to him, and it calls itself the Lords of Shambhala. And the Lords of Shambhala are like, Doctor Strange, there's a reckoning to be reckoned, and there has to become an apocalypse so we can bring Shambhala to the Earth. And that to happen, you have to kill all of Earth and leave only 30%. And he's like, this seems like a bad idea. I don't want to do this. I'm a doctor. Which is one of the rare times that he actually acknowledges the fact that he's a doctor. And he's like, it's not really my job to like go around killing people. And not really. That's kind of like the opposite of my vibe. Actually,
there is a whole ass Hippocratic oath doctors have to take. Like, it seems counterproductive to give the doctor the kill order.
Yeah, and like there's a separate rant that I have about the Hippocratic Oath that I found out by researching Doctor Strange, but the Hippocratic Oath does not actually say what you think it does. Look it up.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to do that right now.
Oh,
but,
no. Just... it says do no harm, dear. It doesn't actually prohibit them from...
it does not.
No?
It does not actually say that. That is not in any version of the Hippocratic Oath.
Really? Alright.
It's just some guy. Yeah, it's just some surgeon guy that said, do no harm. That's like the doctor's creed. And they're like, that's a Hippocratic Oath. There is actually nothing in there that says do no harm to your patients, which is why doctors are okay with charging the outrageous prices that they charge with, because there is no legal or moral obligation for your doctor to treat you without causing you harm. They are just required to do the best they can and not do malpractice. But that does not necessarily mean causing no harm. It doesn't.
It's kind of like when you hear people say it's like blood is thicker than water. That is actually not the full, like, creed that you're thinking. The actual, like, mantra is the blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the room. You guys literally shrink-wrapped it to its most base parts and then made your own saying.
Also, in the original Hippocratic Oath, because the one that we use is not actually the original Hippocratic Oath. Sorry, I'm very passionate about this, but you know what? Whatever. We're talking about Doctor Strange. We're talking about Doctor Shit. This is totally on topic. The original Hippocratic Oath included the fact that you were never supposed to pay for medical teaching. You were never supposed to have to pay to receive medical teaching. The only thing that you were required to do is to house your teacher, if you could, to give them a place to sleep. So, they took that out of the Hippocratic Oath, for obvious reasons. Anyway, so.
Yeah, I don't think I want Dr. Schnamwell to be chilling in my guest bedroom for 1,000,000 years. Are you ever going home?
Right. No, he's old and infirm.
Oh, no. I think it is weird, though, right?
But-
That it's like the general public's knowledge of the Hippocratic Oath, because I just learned this from you, is actually not even. You haven't even leveled up that skill tree, friend. You looked at it twice.
Yep. So actually, if you do the research, everything Doctor Strange was doing in every version of his like iteration is like, sure, he's not acting like a traditional helpful doctor would, but he's acting as every single doctor who is motivated by profit, which includes those doctors that are on your insurance team that are charging you that shit. Because those are doctors that are doing that.
Why does my Benadryl cost $45 a pill?
Because a doctor decided it should.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
if you ever go to the doctor and you get an outrageous bill, call up the billing department immediately, ask for an itemized bill, stuff is gonna get magically taken off and it'll go down.
So there's an endless amount of salt here, and like it just happens to be that like the doctor character in the MCU, even though he's an asshole, he was working well within the medical system. Just straight up, he was not a bad doctor. He was doing everything by the book legitimately, except for that one case of malpractice, which was included in the movie.
The ultimate form of malpractice, HIPAA violations.
Yeah. So yeah. So anyway. So back to the Lords of Shambhala. First of all, it's a beautifully drawn, beautifully colored piece of media. Maybe take the Lords of Shambhala out of your fucking mouth. Like, take their name out of your fucking mouth. Y'all are white. Don't do this shit. Just don't. Just I know. Maybe that's crazy, but yeah. So.
They picked like the worst spot though, right? You guys could have done what Far Cry does and just make up a fake country for the purpose of your story. You guys actually picked a real life country that's had its teeth kicked in a bit.
Yeah. Just like maybe don't use world religions in your magic. Maybe just make bullshit up and make sure that that bullshit doesn't like mirror practices that are stigmatized. Maybe, I don't know. Oh wait. I'm sorry. That would require a writing degree. I'm so sorry.
I don't know. I've seen some fan fiction writers that have done amazing jobs.
True. And like I forgot to mention that in like so there's actually like mumbo jumbo that they say like the hoary hosts of Hagort Vashali fucking Dormammu, that's one of them.
Deep fried chicken with the crust cut off.
And so, yeah, and it's just like he's marking the fact that like I don't want to say abracadabra. It's just like, girl. I guess in this case it's me, Stanley, girl. Listen to me, girl, Stanley.
Listen to me. Abracadabra isn't even fucking Tibetan, you ding dong. Totally different country.
It's not Tibetan. But he was mocking the concept of saying abracadabra in general for magic spells. And he comes up with the Crimson Bands of Sisarak.
That just sounds worse.
Yeah, and he's just like, I love language. I love how the like language sounds. And I'm just like, I've literally played this game when I was a child, where I would try to make up my own fake language, which just like sounds. And let me tell you something that I learned when I was 6. It doesn't fucking work.
I imagine making up your own fake language is actually quite hard, which is why most people don't do it.
Yeah, and the whole idea is like, well, they're fictional names and like blah blah blah. It's just like, I know, I hear you, I get you. The best thing the MCU ever did was instead of making an incantation, whatever,
incantation
is actually like have like this really. yeah, and like how like the swirly things around the harems, and like how like the writing, because that's more closer to alchemy, like the style of alchemy, than it is like any like anything else. And alchemy is okay to be used by Western peoples for one big reason, and that is because it's fucking Western. There's a lot of like there's Western like the Western sciences primarily started because people were fucking around with trying to make gold in their basement. So it's like you guys literally could have just opened up a book, read about some shit, and used the aesthetic of just something that's not I don't know, stigmatizing people.
I also feel like if you were to ever write like a magic system, right, based entirely on Earth, every single magic system would have to be primarily different just because of how people would learn it, right? Like European magicians would have to use alchemy because that would be the basis for it. Like that's how they started. So circles everywhere. It looks like a hoop circus.
Circles everywhere.
But
yeah,
the people of Tibet would obviously have a different type of way to do their magic because circles wasn't fucking in their religion. That's not how that works, Sarah.
Sarah.
I don't know who Sarah is.
But
it's
like
just a random name.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that it's a good thing that they did that for the movies. It's a good thing. That's good. And also just like I have been doing a little bit of research about Nepal, not tons, but I really do believe that the shift from Nepal from Tibet is great. In several ways. First of all, you're no longer fucking around with the Mount Tibet. You're still very close to Mount Everest if you want the aesthetic of Mount Everest. And also Nepal is honestly kind of a really cool country. It doesn't have a gay marriage yet, but it is the first country in the world to ever enshrine gay rights into their actual legitimate constitution. So that's cool.
Oh no, it sounds like they realize, look dude, as long as you're not murdering people for the lulz and like to put it on TikTok, you're good. Do whatever you need to do.
Yeah, and like and like honestly, like just in general, I honestly think that like more stories should take place in Nepal. It's great.
The air is so thin.
It's yeah. What else? Oh, I haven't even gotten to the. Oh god, we have like 10 minutes left, and I haven't even got to like the salt that I have about the way of the weird. I am so sorry.
That's okay. We literally just hopped off of this conversation to talk about just your writing is poor and your magic systems are whack.
Yeah, legitimately.
Tell you what, how about we finish off this episode about that, and then the next time we come back, I'll just tell you, have a script, and we'll follow it.
Oh, honey, if I could write a script, I would. But the problem is the problem is like I don't fucking do anything in a timely manner.
Don't worry, when I tell you, it's like it took me 2 months to get the second High Tea with Friends up because I edit slow.
Mm-hmm. So, like, I'll go ahead and talk about Kalia since I want. Oh God, Kalia is going to be background knowledge that you're going to need for everything going forward. And the thing is about Kalia is she's actually Doctor Strange's first girlfriend, shown in the comics ever. Christine Palmer does not exist in the comics. She's an illusion. She's a figment of your mind. She exists only for the movies. The fact that the movies make Doctor Strange obsessed with his one ex-girlfriend that dumped him forever ago is a brilliant move, actually, because it's actually like underlying the problem with Doctor Strange and his interpersonal relationships with people, about how he gets hung up on the aesthetic of relationships and he doesn't understand how people work, actually. And it's great that they gave him like a girlfriend that doesn't come from another dimension, because honestly, if you can't make it work with a girl from Earth, you're not going to make it work with a girl from anywhere. I'm just saying.
Earth girls are easy.
Earth girls. That's where it's at.
Why does nobody ever come for us? We literally live in space Australia, friend. Nobody's coming for you.
Right. But like, so Christine, just like, I'll get more into Christine if we ever get there, but you know, it is because there are hard takes that I have about Christine, and especially the second movie. But we'll have to say that for later because, you know, time management is a bitch. But so Kalia, I thought that, like, the first time that I read the comics is I thought Kalia was Dormammu's daughter, but she's not. There's just a really weird line, and the writing for the comics is really hard to parse, so it's like, oh, Kalia says this, and she mentions her father in the same scene where you see literally Dormammu in the back. Like, is this a connection? No, comic writing just sucks. It just sucks. She is not Dormammu's daughter. It only seems like she is. She's somebody else's daughter that happens to live in the same dimension as Dormammu. And they first meet when Dormammu is threatening the Ancient One's life, and Doctor Strange has to go kick his ass. And so he heads into the Dark Dimension. He's following along this trail, and he's just like, oh shit, I gotta go find this guy. And Kalia shows up, and she's like, she doesn't give him her name or anything. She's just like, turn back, you must turn back. Oh my god, you must turn back. And he's like, okay, why? And she's like, he's literally going to kill you. And he's just like, I'm into that shit. All right, bye. Actually, what he says is, I have to protect Earth because Earth is so important to me, and like the people of Earth, you know, all the aesthetics of altruism without any of like the showing his altruism, you know, like they teach you in writing school, tell don't show.
Yeah, I've been told, you know what, actually I had to explain that to somebody, that old rule of show don't tell. Show when you're describing something, but when you're actually having the moment that they have to talk about it, please put every bit of your emotions into it.
Right.
Put your whole emotion.
Honestly.
Oh.
And so he goes on and he does the thing with Dormammu, and Dormammu's just like, fuck you, bitch. And he's just like, anytime, but you can't come to Earth anymore. It's like, fuck you. And so that's how like the rivalry between Doctor Strange and Dormammu starts, as he literally tells like Dormammu to fuck off, and he backs up well enough that Dormammu's like, all right, I'll back up, bro. And so like he fucks off, and the Ancient One's like, oh, I'm floating again. And he's like, oh my god, Master, you're floating again. I'm talking about this, and like I know that like this really weird comic series, but like I saying it out loud, man.
Yeah, you know what? The more that you're talking about how Dormammu is just like being banned from Earth, all I can think of is, this sounds like that one cousin that has that one ex that they just keep fucking with and they never stop talking about. Like, just let them go.
No. You don't understand. That's both Dormammu and Baron Mordo. Because Mordo comes back constantly. And every single time he comes back, he's just like, hey, didn't I beat you last time? And Mordo's like, yeah, you did, but guess what, bitch? I teamed up with your ex Dormammu this time, and I've got the power to beat your ass to the ground. I'm yelling.
The power of darkness is mine. Shut up. Do you need a hug? The power of darkness is mine.
And like this. And the funny thing is, the team up between Baron Mordo and Dormammu is actually the very first time that Doctor Strange gets a story that lasts longer than a comic or two. This is in a series that started out with one shots with only about 10 pages, maybe 5 pages at the beginning. It took them a good long while to actually have a story that took multiple episodes, like took multiple comics to tell. And so the premise of that story is basically the Ancient One gets put into a coma. Doctor Strange gets his magic greatly reduced, and he has to figure out a way how to like defeat Dormammu and not Doctor Strange, but like we need to find a way to defeat Doctor Strange. I now Baron Mordo, and the way that he ends up defeating Baron Mordo in this one is he he humiliates him in front of Dormammu, and Dormammu casts him into like a hell dimension, and then unironically, Doctor Strange and Dormammu mano each other with claw pinchers. And Doctor Strange wins.
Are you guys 7? Why are you pinching each other?
I mean, they're like badass, like swords on their arms. It's really stupid. It's really stupid. The way that he wins is he literally like gets his arms like together, so like he's like bondage mode. Picks him up by his like waist area, holds him over his head so he can't kick him or like skip or anything, and I'm just like, he's strong enough to lift a man over his head, and he's gay. Okay.
Dear people, I understand that you guys are like, no, it's not gay. Then you need to tell that to the artist, because if this gets any gayer, we literally are going to have to recategorize this from an action-adventure to the MLM section.
Honestly. And so, oh my god, and like, Dormammu's, like, I already said this once, I'll say it again. Dormammu's Dormammu thick ass. It is actually incredible. It is actually incredible. It is one of the it is the 8th wonder of the world.
It can be nothing else at this point.
Honestly. And while they're a lot of fun, there's just not a lot of emotional content to them. And with a character that you try to have a tragic backstory and you try to have an emotional arc with him, you need to give him, like, maybe not human emotions, because, you know, there's always going to be the concept of, like, well, you have to make your emotions larger than life if you're going to portray them in a media. But the best thing about Doctor Strange is the art. The worst thing about Doctor Strange is Doctor Strange. He is a non-character. He is going through the motions, and honestly, I am not sure that his spirit ever recovered after that car crash, because he has no emotions other than, I guess I gotta do this because I have nothing else in my life. And if it was actually genuinely played like he had depression, that'd be different. But no, they try to pretend that, like, this guy is just like such a superhero. But like, there's an issue if you compare him up with like Spider-Man, which they do, of course, because like the best Doctor Strange stories come when he's with Spider-Man or somebody else that is not him, or I guess Baron Mordo, and there's a problem when you can have Spider-Man say a line like, "May your amulet never tickle," and he has no reaction. Like, what? You're okay, or you're just gonna fly, okay, you're just gonna fly away, right? Alright, cool. And that is how the omnibus of First Doctor Strange compendium collection ends. Is literally that line, "May your amulet never..." And I think I'm gonna call it there. It's been an hour. We're gonna end on the same note that the omnibus does.
Actually, it hasn't been an hour. You've got 7 more minutes.
7 more, fuck. We're just gonna sit here in silence.
Well, this is like what we were talking about before we got on to the call. You can write emotionally stunted characters, right? That can be, in fact, their character arc, having to go from suppressing the emotions that are actively at war with each other to being okay with showing them. The problem is, they don't have writers who are good enough to do this. Guys, please.
No. And this is the problem throughout the entire run of Doctor Strange, is you never have that moment of emotional catharsis. You have set up for emotional catharsis in later comics. You have the moment of where you have him maybe not make a choice in the sense of like he's choosing to do this, but you have moments where he could open up and he could be genuine with people and he could reach out and make genuine connections. And every single time he chooses not to take them. He chooses not to be open. He chooses to continue to close off. And every single time he does this, in the narrative, it is justified. Because if I do that, then bad things will happen. And
but it's not. It's such bad writing. Oh, I'm about to get on my soapbox and complain about this.
You know what? Honestly, and oh my god, I'm probably gonna have to write a script for the Misery arc, because like,
how do we defeat the misery? By making it more miserable. That sounds dumb.
Yeah. No, legitimately. But it makes sense if that moment was originally supposed to be his confession of actually genuinely caring for people, and it got canned by Marvel because you can't have them say that, then it would be gay.
You wanna know what? I think
I don't love you.
I don't I need telenovela music. I don't give a fuck Spanish gifs. I need all of it. No, you wanna know what? If I had to rewrite from what you've just told me about the misery scene, I would actually make it to where the emotional catharsis when he's fighting the misery would be him finally opening up about how the death of his sister has actually been like the main catalyst for his emotional suppression, and just letting all of it out and just talking about her. Like, I know that's a weird concept, but sir.
But then Mr. Misery would be detached from her, from him, and out there killing people and hurting people, and it's just like, you have set up. I guess I am going into the Misery arc anyway. Can I have a little bit longer than an hour?
Sure. Since what we were planning to watch anyway has been moved to Tuesday, we can definitely get another hour. Talk about the Misery arc.
Oh shit. Okay, shit, I've been looking at the notification, but if I clicked on it, then I was going to be distracted. And so, I've been just staring at this glowing red orb.
Yeah, the people we were watching, we've got migraines, we're moving this to Tuesday, condolence. That's obviously not what it says, but
okay.
Just the short notes.
Yeah. Okay. Alright, maybe this is a crazy idea. But since I said the whole thing about the amulet article, I'll finish that. Could it be possible that this part right here is the start of a new episode?
Actually, yeah. I can split these into two.
Yeah.
The second episode won't be out for forever, though, so we're gonna call it here.
Yeah.
Join us for High Tea Part 2, talking about Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Bye!